Happy Thanksgiving. Turkey's in the oven. Let's do some boat work. You just saw me remove the spray rail trim. So big mistake that I made when I started this boat was not appropriately bagging and tagging everything. So if you're thinking about doing this, that's a big tip. Make sure you label everything and make sure that you put all your hardware in a little baggie and label it exactly. Like here, the spray rail's got two, is all 7/8 apart from the end where I've got sorry, it's all 1.5 apart from the end where I've got 7/8. So there's two 7/8 on the end of this. So stuff like that, just make a note of it on your bags as you bag this stuff up. Otherwise you end up with a huge pile of screws and no idea what to do with them. Found that out the hard way. So good news is underneath the spray rail here, these planks are really solid. This is a high risk area, so a lot of moisture can get behind and start to rot these out, depending on the way they're attached. Actually looks like these have either been replaced at some point or they've been off and cleaned because they'll just look too good, really. The original compound's gone that would have been here, and there's something back on here, but either way, great news is the planks are solid underneath. It's maybe a little tiny bit of rot there, but I'll take care of that with a little tiny Dutchman repair. So next off, this big piece, hoping for the same, no rot. That would be really, really good. So fingers crossed. All right, so good news, bad news. Good news is, and it is good news, is all of this is really solid. And I don't think it's ever been off. So that's actually the original colour of the boat right there. It looks really excellent underneath. So has it got a loose bung or a proud bung there? Maybe the wood dried out after it was fitted, who knows. But underneath here it looks great. That's the good news. So that really is good news. A lot of broken screws. Guess you'd kind of expect that. A number of the screws been replaced with incorrect hardware over the years. Few odd size screws in here that I don't quite get, such as on the back here, two I want to say 1-inch screws and one 1.5. So that's weird, so I'll have to figure that out. And then the bad news is Century badge is broken. It's a shame that that's broken, but I think these front ones are very fragile anyway. These have already got new for this. These ones already new were damaged, been repaired over the years, extra screws in and things like that. So I've already got a set of those, but I don't have a set of these. so probably looks like I'll end up replacing that. This wood itself is not too bad. Some rot on the top there. For what it is, I'll probably end up just making a new trim board, just because it's really dry. I can feel when I'm removing the screws, it's just really dry. So I may make a new one of those if I can't repair it. Take a look. But I'm really happy with the sides. That means I'm not having to replace any of these planks additionally. Don't see a need for any Dutchman repairs. So that's really good news. Very happy about that. I expected to see some rot under these spray rails. It's a really weak area. See how it goes on the other side. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but you just never know. Those could be rotted through, and I end up replacing a plank. Either of these, but so far so good. So mega happy about that. Okay, this video is for future Chris. When you come to put this back on, it looks like all the longer screws, which are 1.25 inches, they're hitting into the batten here. So right at the plank joint, longer screws to the batten, and it looks like smaller 1-inch screws go everywhere else where you're not hitting a batten. So that's the decoder ring for how this fits. And the positioning is it's about 2.25 off of the back transom, and to centers 8 inches to centers from the back trim. In fact, 7.5. 7.5 to centers between the trim and here. Midway, it's 8 inches across centers between the trim and the center of the badging rail, and at the front, eight and a quarter, 8.5 across centers between badging rail and trim. Two and a quarter off the transom, 7.5 across centers at the back. Midway, 8 across centers, and front, 8.25 across centers. So that's the positioning of this thing. I think it's mostly following the shape of the second plank, but it does move away from it slightly at the middle. So there we go. That's where it's sitting. If you know what these measurements are and you're watching this, let me know. All right, so positioning for the spray rail is sitting right on the waterline, which is about 12 inches. Waterline is 12 inches from bottom of the chine to the top of the waterline. The spray rail sitting right on the top, all the way down. This would be reference only, about 9 inches from chine to bottom of the spray rail at the front. Spray rail sitting 2.5 from the transom. Hope I can get all this back together. Never gonna remember how this goes back on. Do 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 do. Too many different screws. What might have happened here over the years is it's been off before, maybe. What could have happened here is this has been off before and people have put different screws back in. So this should be a 1 inch. This should be 1 1/4, and this should be a 1 1/2 if my logic holds true. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Do. No idea what screws go where. So this should be the same. This should be bigger, definitely. It's into a button. Son of a pup. No. What? It makes no sense. What? Okay, so they clearly just used whatever screws were to hand. Or maybe someone just put longer ones in at some point. Because it was falling off, so people put longer stuff in, maybe? All these are like smaller ones. Makes no sense. That might be a bigger one. Because that's into a button. No, smaller. Son of a pup! Okay, so clearly there is no logic behind the screw size. Should have put more tape on that. No rot. Okay, really good. No idea what screw sizes I'm going to use to put it back. This side all appeared small. So it did have some biggies in, but just a handful, like 3. I think those are all at the front. So besides the front, everything this side was the same size and smaller, just had 3 biggies at the front. That other one had way more biggies in it. I wonder whether it started to fall off, so someone just threw a bunch of screws at it. I got no idea. we'll figure it out in the future. And for the trim on this side, every screw, you probably can't see that, but every screw had been cut, apart from these three, which are 2 different sizes and are left long. So someone had obviously repaired this trim and cut all of these screws down for some reason. Alright, moving on to last piece of trim. Let's see if the screws on this make any sense whatsoever. I already know that there's a bit of this trim's broken, so that's a real shame. No idea what I'm going to do about that. This section here, there's a crack, so let's start with the worst bit. Real shame. So I'll have to look at finding some more of that. I just don't think I'm going to be able to repair it. My thought is that that's not going to weld, because it's like some sort of a cheap pot metal. I mean, if I could weld it, it's probably worth me trying. I'll weld it, and I can easily dress it, and then get it re-chromed. Well, I doubt it's going to weld. Okay, we're into hacksaw screws again. So these have all been off and back on, which makes sense. Someone's probably refinished the boat before, maybe multiple times. These are all cut screws again, so not original. I mean, it was in storage for 20 years. In storage for 20 years. So it was probably restored some time before it went into storage. So it could have been restored, what, 30 years ago? Wasn't worth as much then, so probably people don't take as much care. Yeah, these are all non-original hacksaw screws. The good news is they are all the same size though, so. There's a line scribed on here. Just where that piece of trim goes. Biro line or something. Alright, one side clear. Ready for finishing almost. Last piece. So this piece actually looks in good condition. Same deal, hacksaw screws. Someone took a screw and shortened it for this. Probably to stop it poking through the plank and being dangerous inside the boat. And that one was longer. One longer one at the front. Everything else the same so far. It's the last one. Yep, same. So one long screw on this side at the front, but not on the other side. It's just crazy talk. Okay, that's come off nice. No brakes in this trim, so that's lucky and good. And again, no bad surprises in here. Same biro line or mark. So someone centered this right the way. Interesting. So there you go. Clear boat. Now we're going to find us a place to store this. Don't think I've ever filmed up here. This is where I store all my parts. So I just bought that trim up. I got seats, rails, interior cushions on the side there, interior trim pieces, rear pole for the flag, which I need to measure while I'm here, running gear, prop, shaft lug. This plate goes onto the bottom, it needs to be replaced. Cut water. Here I've got a Ivolite that I bought to fit. Moving on to interior, front seats, steering column. The boards are on the floor here, laid out as they would be in the boat, so I remember. Side panels. Side panels don't look bad. Side trim. Rear boards. Rear hatch. Drive shaft. Rear seat back, trim corners. Transom plank, which I probably need to take down. Rear ladder. So this is all the rest of the parts that I've got laid out. A lot of this stuff I didn't remove. The whole interior I didn't remove. It came with that bag of hardware there, which I've started to sort out ish. So this is the rest of the puzzle. Be a happy day to start to get to some of this, because it means I'm working on fitting some of the fun bits. I look forward to restoring this column. See a lot of rust on the column here, so my plan will be to change that to stainless steel. Might end up re-chroming some of this. Probably rebuild the steering gearbox. Mirror there. Yeah, lots of fun stuff. Alright, I got everything I need here in CPS to finish this side. So last 3 butt blocks, there, and there. That is the butt block for the bottom plank. This is the bottom plank. So They've all just had the last coat of CPS, so 4 coats. So that should finish this side. Once that CPS dries, I can fit it, and this side's going to be finished. So, switching over to starboard side. So, unfortunately, first job is butt blocks. I'm going to have to make 7 butt blocks, which you know I hate it, but let's get on with it. Alright, stock's down to size, so let's make some blocks. Alright, 3 butt blocks made, 5 more to go. I've had enough, so go check what that whether that plate's clean, and call it quits.